getting into, I guess, the cosplay community. You and I have had a couple of conversations that I was reminded of when I read a few tweets a few months back. I'm going to read you some of these tweets, and I want you to just kind of give your thoughts on it, 'cause I think this will resonate with something we've been talking about recently. So this is all, the main topic here is, I guess, the cosplay community, and I put community in quotations, right? So Yak Frost on Twitter says, "You have to realize that the cosplay community isn't a community more so than a bunch of strangers posting about their hobbies on the internet. You can find and make friends with people, and you can make genuine connections, but you can also run into genuinely awful people. The cosplay community isn't absolved of awful people because it's a fun hobby. There are manipulators, racists, and abusers in it. Toxicity goes where people breed it. Unfortunately, toxicity is rampant because people cling to cos fame and clout over addressing tangible issues." So there's another kind of, like I saw both of these tweets, like one day and one the other day. So it was like, wow, this seems to be a trend here from two different people, right? Next one says, Jacaranda Cos. "Every time I see someone talk about the cosplay community, I hold this in. But you know what? Nah, the cosplay community is a myth, and I strongly advise new cosplayers who are young or otherwise vulnerable to not buy into it. Cosplay is a hobby. You can consider it a community in the sense that there are basic rules that should be followed by people involved or otherwise invested in the hobby. Like don't blackface, don't fat shame, cosplay is not consent, cosplayers are not the characters, etc. But for a cohesive group that shares the same values and interests, that supports all its members and can be counted on to take out the trash, absolutely not. Please, please put your safety first and do not regret this. And do not forget this, rather." But yeah, I mean, both of them had pretty long threads, so I'm not, for those of y'all listening, you know, if I'll put those on there, you can go back and find them. Please get the whole context. I don't want anybody to think I took anything out of context here. I was just picking certain ones that go with the point I'm making. But, you know, I'll start to get this common thread of people not really believing in the so-called cosplay community. Like it's not as much of a community as we like to think it is. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like there's some truth to that? Do you feel like it's off a little bit, or is that pretty much been what you experienced?
I'm gonna say that's about, in my opinion only, that's about 95% true, maybe 99% true, because it's not a community, because you know, community help in a community, basically definitely a community of people living together or coming together and working together for a common cause. Right. That's my definition. And cosplay, the only thing that we have in common, I've posted this before, so you know, the only thing we have in common that we dress up as our favorite fandom.
Yeah.
Or villains or whatever. That's it. Like you said, we all come from different backgrounds, different beliefs, we have different moral compasses. So and it can be very toxic. I've seen a toxicity from people who think they're cosplay famous, who trying to use that fame to shame people, actually harassing female cosplayers, and in between fat shaming to racist, and as I told you before our other interview, I'm not a violent person, but I'm surprised nobody has thrown hands at me. Right. More issues. There's been some stuff that if you I can only speak for me. I've seen people take some stuff that if you did to me, man. Yeah, man.
It's old school. There's way too many e-thugs out there. You know, there's way too many people out there who will say what they say online, but when it comes down to actually talking about it, and again, that's not to say that, like, you know, that is necessarily going to come to blows if you talk it out in person, but there are a lot of people who, if someone says, hey, let's meet up, let's actually squash this, some people aren't willing to come through.
Because like you said, their internet, their keyboard tough guys, Facebook, social media tough guys, and a lot of them, to be honest with you, like one gentleman said, I can run my mouth because I can always call 911. And I guess in school, that's not how I deal with things. My theory is this, and this goes for the cosplay, and this goes for the real world. If you and I have a problem, we could talk about like two grown men, and we can agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. In a very rare case, if we got to do, we got to do what we have to do. But we to the point we can disagree and leave each other alone.
Right.
You know, somebody posted something the other day, and I had to share it because it makes a lot of sense, and it should apply to the cosplay community too. You know, we have to learn to realize that we're not everyone is not meant for everyone. You're not going to like everyone.
Yeah.
We have to not like each other without throwing any kind of heat towards each other.
Right.
And that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, you can give your opinion about someone's cosplay without being a jerk. There's ways of doing it. Matter of fact, if you don't like someone's cosplay, just don't say anything. That's my opinion. Or if you're gonna say something to them, you message them offline. You don't sit there and bash them or say, well, you know, I just like my stuff accurate, comic accurate, or I like TV accurate, movie accurate. That's fine. You have the right to like that, but there's ways. Not everyone can financially or artistically do that, and there's ways. And who are you to tell someone that their cosplay sucks? I mean, I love everyone's cosplay, whether it's store-bought or made. I don't make my cosplays. I don't have the time or artistic talent to do it.
Yeah,
I pay for them, but I would never enter a contest and try to sell them. But yeah, I just think this whole community word has been used way too much, and it's the thing that we just all share the same hobby.
Yeah. But
we're not a community. We're really not a community because there's too much friction as to be a community, and people don't want to admit it. I mean, I've seen people stop cosplaying because of just toxicity. In my area, I'm quite sure it happens in other places too. Good people have left cosplay because you know what? I cosplay for fun and enjoyment and bringing my hero to life or my villain to life and do it for the children. I don't do it to argue and fight with someone. So
yeah,
why am I going to sit there and deal with this? I can just easily not do it. And that's what a lot of people want. They only want their circle of friends to cosplay. So you know how I feel about this.
Yeah. And it's crazy, like, and not to make light of this thing in the cosplay community, but it does happen. I would dare to say any hobby out there that that same thing happens. Before I got into cosplay, I was heavy, and I'm still connected to, but just not. I don't go to salsa conventions the way that I used to. Like Comic Cons and comic conventions have pretty much replaced salsa congresses in my life, and I still do kind of miss it. But like in that same community, you know, there's people who love each other and support each other. There's people who breed drama. There's everything in between. There's elitism where there shouldn't be. There's all the isms when it shouldn't be. Yeah. There's discrimination when it shouldn't be. I'm pretty sure every community out there has that. Like I remember one time I heard about the vaping community, and my first thought was, how was that a community? Like, is there a community of people just sitting around smoking? But I had to check myself, because I'm pretty sure somebody has said that about cosplay. I'm pretty sure somebody has said that about salsa dancing. You know, it's like anything that you don't do is very easy to say there's a community for that. There's a bunch of people there's people that take that this seriously. Like, why is that? But yeah, I'm pretty sure in the vaping community there's animosity and drama. There's whatever hobby you can get into. Segue into my next question then. I know you mentioned, you know, you handle a lot of things. You got, you ex-military, the cigar smoking is a hobby for you, cosplay is a hobby for you. What else do you do outside of cosplay? Because one thing I like to do with my interviews here is like let people know how real people we are. I didn't say that grammatically correct, but yeah, like Like, you know, people see us as cosplayers, and they assume that we're all just sitting in our mom's basements, you know, not having jobs, not washing our behinds, you know. And while that's true for some people, that's, you know, that's not the overall thing. So like, what all do you, you know, what makes you a full real person that ain't just a geek? Like, what all do you get into besides what we already mentioned?
Well, you know, I'm as you know, I cycle. I'm a huge cyclist.
Right.
I do that year round. When it gets cold up here in Connecticut, just dress appropriately and do that. I've been cycling seriously. I've been cycling for getting married. Cycling for 12 years. Seriously doing it for 8 years now. So that takes up a lot of my time. And as you know, cigar smoking, I'm trying to cut back on that. I don't do as much as I used to, but I'm having investments in a shop, so I had to spend time there. And I just picked up bowling. To be honest, I haven't announced it yet. I started bowling in the league a couple of weeks ago, and trying to do that and trying to get better in that and absorb what I can. So, you know, that takes a lot of my time, and working, you know, especially through this pandemic. I'm working from home now.
Yeah.
And so going down by the shop and checking the shop every once in a while. And but my main passion besides cosplay is cycling. I love the cycling. And you hit the nail on the head about you have issues everywhere. You have it in the cycling world. And those who cycle, they know that cycling is a very elitist sport. It's very, it's very, very, very elitist. That's why I cycle with groups every once in a while, but I prefer to cycle alone because the person I'm competing with is myself. And the cycling community is almost like a cosplay community where people look at the first thing they look at when they're going by another cyclist, what kind of bike they have, what kind of gear they have, what kind of helmet they have. I mean, helmet to your kit, which is your bib and your shirt and your socks and your shoes and your glasses and your body type before they decide to wave. I'm like, man, that's a lot to absorb in a couple of seconds cycling by somebody. Now you're seeing more and more people who have bought bikes. So you can see in the news where bicycle shops can't keep bikes in because people are doing this hobby, and a lot of people are buying flat handlebar bikes and just riding as a family. You have some people who have ventured into the drop handlebar bikes, and they start off with maybe endurance bikes all the way to aggressive road bikes. And I've had people, because I've been doing this, my average ride day, I'm still in my year. I came in like 10 minutes before, you know, my ride there was only 46 miles. Yesterday it was 57. So I've been doing this for a while, and I've had a pandemic. I call them pandemic cyclists because they're gonna fall off sooner or later. When the weather gets cold, they're done.
Right.
They're done. I had one woman that was trying to get me advice, and I'm like, man, what's your longest ride? He said, I just did 26 miles in Coastal. I said I do that during the week on a weeknight when I get off of work. I said go sit down.
Right.
So that's me. And besides being a husband and being a father of two beautiful growing daughters, father two fur babies, it takes up my time. I guess if you know, because I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I've been reading all this stuff on Facebook now, so that's me. That's just me. Yeah.
Wow. You know, it's crazy. I saw one of your posts about cycling and about like the competition that happens with it, and I was like, you know, just like the point I was making earlier, you would think with these hobbies it wouldn't be these certain things, but it's just like, dang, it happens there too. Like, you know, sizing you up before they even know you. Like the reason why you tend to cycle alone, because you're getting the drama, and you stop and think, why is there drama about riding a bike?
Exactly.
You would think with us, like with cosplay, it's like, and you know, I hate. So there's this phrase or this idea that cosplay is just dress up, right? And I hate when people outside the community say it, because they don't understand what it means to us. But I think people inside the community need to realize that's really all we're doing. This is not something to get big-headed about. This is not something to be arrogant about. This is not something to put other people down about. We are grown people playing dress up. And I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, when you had people hating on you with biking, I'm like, y'all are getting exercise in. You're on a bike, riding a bike. There is nothing to get arrogant and big-headed about that. Like,
I tell some of my fellow cyclists, I said there's some people that I've spent. So I rode, but I don't mountain bike. The closest I do to mountain bike is gravel bike. I just picked a gravel bike. It was like a road bike, but it's made for the gravel. I said it's $500 for a bike, and some people have spent $15,000 for their bike.
Yeah.
So, if you spend $15,000 for your bike, there's no reason for you to look down on someone who spent $500 for their bike. Or if you have multiple bikes, or you look down that's one bike. But it's just that arrogance. You can't hide. Some people are arrogant and just jerks, and it can't be hidden. And
they will find anything to be arrogant and elitist about.
I rode one time with one group, and you give them that vibe. I'm not the one to leave you alone, but I see them. They were picking on other cyclists. I had one guy ask me one time. He said, "Hey, I'm so and so. Your bike carbon?" I said, "It's carbon." He said, "I spent so and so for my bike. How much did you spend for yours?" I said, "Why? Are you gonna pay the bill?" And we looked at each other, and he got quiet, and he said, "Oh, you don't have to be that way." I said, "Neither do you." And I said, "No." I told the guy who invited me to the ride that night. I said, "I'm gonna ride with y'all tonight, but I'm not riding." He said, I said, "I got you." It's just the nature, and not all cyclists. But I'm gonna say that it's the ones I've experienced, and it also gives those who aren't like that a bad name. Like, I guess the cosplay world, those who aren't in it, those who don't go to cons every weekend, may not see the drama. But those who go to cosplays, who aren't cosplayers, like there's some people who just go to conventions just to go for the love of it. They may not know the drama, but I tell you, there's a lot of and you just have to stay above that as much as difficult as it is. And I said it starts with, first of all, the golden rules is they treat others better than you want them to treat you.
Yeah.
If you have nothing cool to say to somebody, just leave them alone.
Right.
That's just my theory. Or if you do feel the need to say something, there's always the consequences for how you act. I tell people that. I always remember that. There's a consequence for how you act, and you might not like it.
Exactly.
So, I'm quite sure somebody who's watching this interview now is probably saying, "He's a jerk." Hey, I don't know you. You don't know me, man. So, but it's just the nature of the beast. So,